Social media moves. Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones took his Twitter account private and scrubbed all his feeds of any Falcons photos or relationships Monday. The team says Jones just wants a, quote, fresh start on social media, and another source told ESPN the former Crimson Tide player was setting an example for current Alabama players. Kevin Durant knows about the perils of social media for athletes. Remember last summer's burner account fiasco? Well, KD is at it again, this time liking from his account an Instagram post that called former teammate Russell Westbrook the, quote, problem with the Thunder. What does this all mean? Durant says nothing, telling ESPN he accidentally liked the comment as he scrolled through his timeline. We'll know more later. More First Take right now.
Julio, I'm not mad at you for the fresh start, but we're going to focus on KD. Some shade thrown on the Graham gentleman with KD with the quote-unquote accidental like. Max, was KD justified in liking this comment about Westbrook?
First of all, he says it was an accident. Now, I have liked many things accidentally, because when you scroll through, everyone knows on Twitter, your thumb could hit that little heart very easily. You're like, wow, I like that. No, I didn't mean to do that. But in KD's case, he has no credibility because, as was just reported and people reminded, he had the burner account last year. So you cannot take his word for it here. But let's say you did take his word for it, and it was an accident. And you're saying, to hell with the credibility, all right, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt anyway, we'll believe him. What is he going through that stuff for in the first place? You know what KD is like? KD is like the guy who breaks up with his girlfriend. He's the one who broke up with her, but he keeps walking back and forth in front of her house, hoping maybe she's hanging out outside. He wants to see what she's up to. I mean, like, what is he doing? He's clearly conflicted about the situation, no matter how you slice this, and there's no other way to say it. He's playing himself.
Well, I agree with you there, but I do think it needs to go a bit deeper than that. First of all, listen. What KD's going to have to accept is the fact that, he looks bad here. He looks bad here. First of all, nobody believes him. Nobody believes that, he didn't do it. It was, he's not the one that liked this comment. It's innocent or it was a mistake. Nobody believes that. KD did it because KD is still harping on this. He can't let it go. And here's why he can't let it go. Because, he had no business going to Golden State. He rode the gravy train to an NBA title. Now, having said all of that, doesn't take away from the fact that he's a great, great basketball player. One of the top basketball players on the planet. This is a brother that's a career 27-point-per-game scorer. And, oh, by the way, Max Kellerman, in his career in Oklahoma City in those 9 years, he went to 4 conference finals and he went to 1 NBA finals. This is not a guy that's been devoid of elite competition or getting at least on the precipice of things. So we can't sit up there and disrespect him that way. But what he wants everybody to know, which is why I think we need to speak about this, is that once again, look, I'm justified in leaving. Because guess what? This is what I had to deal with when I was there. That's essentially what you're saying. That's essentially what this all comes down to. Look at what I had to do. I had to leave because I couldn't win with this cat, Russell Westbrook. Let me tell you what the real story should be. You didn't have to go to Golden State. That's what this is about. See, KD confuses things. KD and those and folks who support him try to paint this picture that people were getting on him for leaving OKC. It's not that you left OKC. It's that you left OKC within one game, 48 minutes of a trip to the NBA Finals, up 3-1. You lost Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7, and then left for the team that came back and made history by beating you. And so as a result of that, it's the team that you joined. That was the issue. Had he gone to San Antonio, nobody would have said anything. Had he gone to the Clippers, nobody would have said anything. Had he gone to Miami or Washington, think about this for a second, Max Kellerman. Just think about it. I know you don't imagine it, but just imagine for 1 second that D.C. native back in Chocolate City, all right, with John Wall and Bradley Beal as his teammates. Would we be talking about Toronto? Would we be talking about LeBron and Cleveland? We'd have been talking about them. We'd have been talking about the Washington Wizards. But KD didn't go there. What I'm saying is that it's where you elected to go, which was to a 73-9 juggernaut with a reigning 2-time league MVP and 3 All-Stars with a championship and back-to-back NBA Finals appearances on their resume. You chose to go there. That's the bigger story than you saying, oh, I left because I couldn't win with Russell Westbrook.
First thing is, he didn't go to a championship team. He went to a team that barely missed the championship. And I think that's the reason he could justify it to himself. You know, this is my speculation, but I believe he could justify to himself going to the Warriors because they, in fact, lost the title. But they had just won 73 games. They lost it by a hair, and they lost it to a great team in Cleveland with the greatest player in the world putting on an historic
after beating Kevin Durant.
Right, with a sidekick that also put on a great performance in Kyrie Irving. They barely lost to that team. So Kevin Durant, if he thinks because they didn't win the championship, it's okay to go there, that's a borderline call at best. I want to get to the Westbrook of it all, though, because you're right. In liking the comment, if it's intentional or passive-aggressive in some way, it's telling everyone, look, people, what I have to deal with. Now, does Kevin Durant look worse here, or does Russell Westbrook look worse? Because at a certain point, Westbrook, my favorite player, this is the guy I like to watch the most because of the aggression. You brought it up. He's never cheated the fans. He always gives his all on every play, at least on offense. And he's a dynamo. But at this point, young Russell Westbrook was on a great team with young Kevin Durant, young James Harden, and young Serge Ibaka. They didn't win the title. Now, you may argue they were all too young. Fine. And then they were too cheap, and they let go of Harden. They still had KD and Westbrook and Ibaka, and they've had different iterations of that team around KD and Westbrook, and now Westbrook since then. You know, whether it's Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, whether it's a team without a signature player like that, but Oladipo. We didn't know how good Oladipo was when he was playing with Westbrook. Suddenly, Carmelo Anthony looks like a shell of himself playing with Westbrook. The common denominator, if Kevin Durant's liking it intentionally, is Russell Westbrook is the common denominator. Whether he's with talent, whether the pieces fit, whether they don't, somehow he makes something less than the sum of its parts. And it makes Westbrook look bad, too. Like, who looks worse here, KD or Westbrook? That's really the question.
Well, Westbrook, well, listen, you could say that this morning because based on what we're seeing in this series, Westbrook is not looking great. But that wasn't the case before this series began, A. And B, and more importantly, how about asking ourselves and ending the segment on this question? If KD had gone somewhere else and won with a team that had never won, really, how would we be looking at him now? Think about it. We've been talking about LeBron. We're talking about Anthony Davis, okay? We see Ben Simmons and Embiid and the Sixers on the come-up. How would we be talking about Kevin Durant right now if Kevin Durant had
did he leave the same way? Did he diss Westbrook? If he dissed Westbrook the same way out the door, then the conversation we're having right now would be the same. If he dissed Westbrook the same way out the door, we'd be having the same conversation right now.
That's not true. I don't have time to educate you right now, but that's not true.
I just got to add one thing because I'm a fan of the Gram, and I've also liked things, and you don't mean to like it, but it's very simple. You just press unlike. Come on, Katie, get with it. Coming up, Allen Iverson's been supporting his former squad this postseason. We'll find out what he's been up to lately besides leading the Philly faithful. And does AI believe the Sixers are really ready to go all the way this year like Joel Embiid has been declaring? We got the answer with us right after the break.
You give new meaning to spin. I'm just trying to tell you.
Are you joking?